for Motohop on Air.
Welcome to episode 25.
25? We're still alive.
Yeah, that's pretty fitting. That is very fitting.
A few moments of question there in the last few weeks, but
yeah,
here we are.
Yeah. I guess my hope is to make it through the podcast without sounding overly nasally.
I don't think
coughing.
There you go.
Or
I don't think how you sound is going to be the problem.
Or like nose noises.
So I have a backup plan.
Okay.
I have been looking up jokes. So if you stop and you have to cough, I have riddles.
You're just going to fill with riddles?
Yeah, and some of them are really bad and offensive. Well, not like dirty offensive, just like I might need to like do an official disclaimer the fact we don't hate Harleys. These jokes are just like tend to sway that way because apparently everyone else does.
Okay.
And there was one of them that I'm like, wow, I bet you this is really funny if I got it. So maybe you could fill us in.
That's good.
But yeah, apparently there's really not that many. I've been on a few forums and I'm already like getting some repeats. And I'm like, oh God, we need to come up with some new material.
Yeah. So we have been on a bit of a break because we both ended up with COVID.
Well, not from vintage motorcycle days.
No.
We did that podcast. We were like a week out already and like still healthy. So
after the last podcast, first of all, we were recording this Monday, August 19th, 10:04 p.m., right on time.
Slightly earlier than usual, which is much appreciated.
So the Saturday after our last recording, we went to Norwalk. I think it's technically Summit Motorsport Park, but Norwalk Dragway, Raceway, whatever, for the Night Under Fire event, which was very cool.
Yeah, it was all right.
But we think that's where we got COVID.
I would be willing to put money on it.
Yeah.
That's how confident I am that that's where it came from. It was the only like large group of people we'd been around that we weren't like, honestly, the only large group of people we've been around. Even at like Mid-Ohio, I feel like we were really spaced out. Like, yeah, there was a lot of people, but you never really stood next to anyone.
Yeah.
This was like you're packed in bleachers with people. I mean, your knees are touching their back. Like you're all breathing. Even though you're outside, it's just
the line for like foods and bathroom and
you're just packed in. It's just a lot of people. And I don't know if the wind was blowing enough or was apparently blowing in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I recommend against it.
COVID or the Night Under Fire.
No, Night Under Fire was great. As someone who went to Summit Nationals a lot at Norwalk, I think Night Under Fire is a great way, especially if you have someone who's not entirely sure they're super into drag racing or someone you want to introduce to it. It is a much lower commitment level.
Yeah.
Because we got there at 6-ish.
Yeah.
And it was just like opening ceremonies and then boom, racing.
Things don't start until 7.
Like, what time did we leave? Midnight-ish?
I think we did, or a little bit before, but normally we went with my cousins and they said it usually only goes until 11. So I'm not sure what happened that it took. There was a lot of track cleaning. I don't know if that was maybe out of the
track prep.
But it wasn't prep because it was like after people had already gone. It wasn't, I mean, yes, it was before the next round, but there was a lot of cleaning and stuff in between. So maybe that like buffered. I would say that was the biggest downtime. And then they had, I don't know, I guess before they started, there was a lot of downtime, like National Anthem, they had divers or whatever and stuff. There was a lot of downtime there, but that seems like they were just trying to stick to a schedule. That wasn't like buffer or anything. So I don't know. I don't know what happened.
It's a good time though. Always fun watching Top Fuel cars. The Top Fuel Harleys were something I do not remember seeing before. Normally at Summit Nationals, they run the Pro Stock bikes. But yeah, the Top Fuel Harleys were pretty sweet. The jet cars and jet trucks, way louder than I anticipated.
Really? I thought the bike was loud. The bikes were louder than I anticipated because you think like, and I don't know anything about the motors. I don't know anything about the vehicles. I don't know anything about like comparable speed, who's going to go faster. The only thing I know is that bikes are smaller than cars. You'd think they'd be quieter, and that was not the case.
No, nitromethane just gets loud, especially big displacement stuff. But yeah, the jets, every time they would like pop the afterburners, that big like, I don't know, pop, bang sound. Mm-hmm. And some of them got into it and were doing patterns with it and stuff during the warm-up.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of fun.
Yeah. And then I see you added on here scooters.
Oh, yeah. Because that's pretty much, I mean, we talked about it.
Yep.
We noticed them while we were there because you're like, look, drag races and scooters, apparently.
Yeah. It's always fun to see what they're running for pit bikes. It is exceptionally funny to watch during the like parade at the beginning.
Is that why they're called pit bikes?
Yes, to run around pits.
Like in drag races? Like, was that like the original reason, or just
NASCAR, wherever?
Pits in general, they were literally like pit bikes to run.
Yeah, you
and
have
like
small bikes to run around the pits.
Of big cars?
Yeah.
I never would have thought that bikes were affiliated with cars.
Yeah, cars, also other bikes. So like Aprilia made a scooter that essentially they were only making for their race team to have an Aprilia branded pit bike.
How many miles they get on them a year doing that? Doesn't seem like it'd be very much.
I don't know. Figure you're there for almost a week for an event.
Well, I guess that's true. Around. They are literally driving around like campsites and everything else.
But during the like opening parade, watching the Top Fuel Harleys be pushed by a scooter.
So many memes there.
Yeah.
So many missed opportunities.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like old news to everyone else in the world.
Yeah. But so good time other than the whole getting COVID thing.
Was it worth it?
No. If to go, I had to get COVID, I would not go.
No. Not worth one night of fun.
I don't remember if I said this
or 2
already
weeks of
or
misery.
Not. This round was worse. I haven't had COVID since fall of 20.
When really there wasn't any option, but like there wasn't any like medicine. Like the world had just opened up when we got sick before. Because it was closed from like March until like, I don't know, September or something. We got sick over Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So just a different world back then.
Yeah, I filled the symptom bingo card. There's not a symptom I can think of that I did not get.
Too bad you don't win a prize. And that was 2 weeks ago. So I am on like day 14 of, I don't know, day 0 or something. Like it would have been like 2 full Saturdays ago that we were sick. So I was out of the gym for a week and a half. And this week I plan on going back like full blast. I feel good. That
good
type
on
of
you.
deal.
I don't feel good.
I feel really tired when I wake up still.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's just how much of that's COVID and how much of it's life. We're like actually getting back into the real rhythm. Like we took the like almost week off for vintage days, came back and we're like barely surviving, right? We were in a fog for that week and then we got sick for 2 weeks. So it's like, this is the first time in a month that we're like, I'm working at full capacity. It's hard.
Yeah. We missed what is in your cup, or do you want me to start with mine?
I just have some wine to counterbalance all the caffeine I drank today in order to podcast.
I have a health tonic.
Health tonic? You just picked up a bottle of water, but that's not what that is.
No.
Okay.
No, I have a health tonic.
I feel like that's self-proclaimed. That's not a formal term. That is a Moto Hop Customs
fluids.
A Moto Hop signature drink.
Well, let's start with, before we started the podcast, I had to decide what medications I needed to med myself up with. So we got some Mucinex, we got some Advil in, and then this health tonic of blue Gatorade and a ginger beer.
Which is a very odd combination.
Well, electrolytes and ginger, which is
ginger good like for your overall GI everything. And health. Yeah, ginger's delicious.
It's going to fix
it's a
me.
Very.
I can feel it.
I feel like there might be there's got to be one ingredient you're missing, like beet juice or something weird would fix you. I feel like it's missing one additional weird something. snake oil.
As I made one the other day.
And it was better?
It was purple.
Oh, this one's not?
No, and it's the same exact 2 things I put in.
Did you grab the same ginger beer? There was 2 flavors in there.
Oh, well, that would
explain
explain
There was a hibiscus one before, and there's a plain one.
It must have been the hibiscus last time.
It was really pretty. I thought it was cranberry juice, and it was like perfectly fizzy. So 2 things you'd never mix together, because one is like a, I don't want to call it higher end because it's really not that expensive, but like a nice tonic mixer that is literally made for alcohol. You're combining it with like how
Gatorade.
many different, Gatorade is just so gross to me. How many different artificial colors, weird.
Oh, no, there's no artificial colors. This is all natural.
It's like glows in the dark. There's no way. It's like blue, like troll hair blue.
Yeah, blue one, that's natural.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Okay.
Well, it came from somewhere.
Probably from a blue tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I should stop reading
color.
the ingredients on that.
Yeah, don't scan it on a health app either. You'll just be really sad.
So,
oh, sorry. I clicked on something.
Playing
Video
videos
almost
over
came
there?
up.
Good. Maybe turn your sound down.
I normally do. I hadn't got to that point yet. All right, we're good.
So, I'm trying to do mental math.
Of what?
2 Saturdays ago.
Is when we were, at the...
I was just starting to not feel good. And I was like...
No, you were good until... I thought you were good until like Tuesday.
No, Sunday was my day. Saturday, I was like, I'm not great, but I'm not bad. I think I can go into the garage for a bit.
Hold on. Mm-hmm. I think your days are off.
No.
So Saturday was when we went to Summit. Sunday, remember we came back and you were cleaning the garage.
You're going a weekend previous to that.
Oh, so you're saying you were a full couple days delayed. I know you didn't feel good on Wednesday when we actually emptied the camper.
Yeah, Thursday I tested negative. I didn't really have any symptoms.
Yeah, Wednesday you weren't feeling great, but you weren't really like sick yet.
Yeah. The Friday after Night Under Fire was my first day of like symptoms. Saturday though, I thought I was going to be able to go to the garage and put the new exhaust on the Spree, which I did. I have not got around to jetting the carburetor because I have just not had the energy. But I picked up a new exhaust for the Spree, eBay special.
The amount of money you spent, it's just ironic. It's not like it's a lot of money.
Well, it's an S23 pipe,
but when
sold by Scooter Swap Shop. But I got it for half.
Sure, okay. But here my side, because I don't know anything about anything here. You spent 25% of the cost that you paid on the Spree for a new exhaust.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is why bikes kill me. It's sure, you got a good deal on a bike, but you can't leave it alone.
No.
Just it's something I've learned when you can I have a bike? It's yeah, but the bike is the cheap part. It's all of the other tinkering that honestly puts us I don't want to say over budget, but mentally when you're okay, let's say a bike is $2,000. It's okay, well, I can mentally figure out $2,000, but I don't mentally compensate for the tires, the whatever, how many exhausts have you bought for the Harley?
1.
How many have you bought for?
Oh, sorry, 2.
Okay.
The first of those 2 though was $40.
And I'm not saying it's a lot of money. For me, it's just the concept of never ending. I like closure that, oh, you did something, it's cool, we're done. Same as
No.
Oh, you've bought new bikes. To me, I'm done. You're buying a new bike.
What is
you get
done?
it, you ride it, and you're done. Stop touching things. You spent your money, go play with it and leave it alone. Build your Legos and leave it alone.
That's
and
playing with it.
Just leave it alone.
No.
Just leave it alone.
That's so boring.
Yeah, but it's so nice to have, you're buying something brand new sometimes. Mm-hmm. It should be fine. Why are things not fine when you buy
see, the engineers who spent countless hours and years getting their degrees and possibly months and years designing these vehicles, they all actually know less than me. So I'm modifying the vehicle to make it perfect.
Okay.
That is heavy sarcasm.
Because I was really resisting an eye roll on that.
No. But because it's fun to make it your own. Sometimes you have to for ergonomics, right? Handlebars, pegs.
I'm willing to spend a little bit more on clothes so I don't have to tailor them. You are willing to spend more on a bike just so you can modify it. And it
Hey, if you want to get a bike that fits me perfectly and I don't have to modify, I'm down with that.
Yeah, right. There's a sidebar on this. How much is it going to cost?
Keanu Reeves makes them. His Arch motorcycle. They'll make one that fits me perfectly.
Yeah, and is it more or less than my car cost?
Oh, way more than your car.
Okay, see.
Slightly more than we paid for our house. But I will never have to modify it.
You're just trying to be like extremist here.
You said you pay more so you don't have to tailor
aggressive.
It. I'm saying you can pay more so you don't have to tailor
Okay, so if
bike.
I buy you this bike, will I get the garage back?
Listen, if you bought me that bike, yeah.
You're going to take everything out of the garage. You'd have one bike. And our life would just be that simple.
For a while.
For a while. What, 2 weeks until the novelty wears off?
I don't know. Maybe.
Not worth it.
I'd give you a few years.
We're going to need some sort of like
I don't know.
Motorcycle disclosure agreement, a waiver or something.
It may be a life-changing experience.
For both of us?
I've never ridden a bike that expensive.
I've never had a room in the garage.
I have no idea what it would feel like.
I wonder if they'd let you test drive it.
Probably not.
They probably won't even let you touch it.
Probably not.
Don't breathe on it.
No.
Especially not with your dirty COVID breath.
Yeah. But so while modifying the Spree, I noticed, so that is now the third scooter in the stable.
Why'd you tell me that? Sometimes I forget about the one.
Which one?
The Royal Alloy. I would just forget
the first one? Okay.
Yeah. I don't
So there's something that all three have in common.
Two wheels.
What it is? Okay, sure.
Foreign. The Aprilia is Italian and...
Something that is odd for scooters.
Oh. None of them have cup holders. No, wait, no, the one does.
You're close, though.
No storage.
None of them have storage. How have I managed to buy 3 scooters so far and none of them have storage?
You are really bad at shopping. Never buy me a purse. Just never even try.
I yearn for the day that I have a scooter with under-seat storage.
Maybe you should start making better choices.
No, the problem is all the cool scooters don't have under-seat storage.
Or swap one out.
The vintage ones don't have under-seat storage. Like, none of the cool ones seem to have under-seat storage.
Well, you should write a postcard to someone.
Yeah. In the downtime with COVID, though, we have been... Oh, before we even get there, did you notice what shirt I put on?
No. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so...
Too bad no one can see us.
No. We had really cool items that Missy made for Vintage Days. One of which almost made it there. But it did so
not. Much almost cool swag timed out for Vintage Days. I mean, I don't know how much anyone else would appreciate it, but you really like some solid swag. Like, we're good at buying it. We can buy some really quality stuff.
So you designed a backpack, which is available on the Etsy shop.
Yeah, a modified version of it. The one that people might actually want to use, because we put like podcast and merch line on ours. And no one wants that. Like, we're not... I don't believe in advertising someone else's company like full blown.
Obnoxiously. Yeah. But no, the backpack turned out awesome. The print quality is phenomenal. The material is great.
Yeah, because they print it right on the material. It's not a screen print. It's not an embroidery.
No, it's dye sublimation.
Which not everyone knows what that means, but it's literally like in the material. So we should almost wash it and see what happens.
Yeah.
They don't really wash
it's like nice and canvasy, like rugged.
But also very light.
Padded straps.
It's a small bag, but can probably hold easily, I'd say, a 13-inch laptop, maybe 14.
Yeah. Has a padded laptop compartment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sweet bag. Did not make it in time.
No. And like I said, that was like one of the main things, because I'm in marketing and I kind of obsess over the... user experience over everything, like opening a can, like is that what it should be, and all this stuff. We made t-shirts 2 years ago, not last year, I guess it'd be like a year ago. And the thing is like I had a backpack on the whole time, like no one could see the design of my t-shirt. Like, and not only that, but as like a female, it's like weird when people look at the front of you, and it's like they can't look at the back at you, and it's like your cool design was on the front, mine was on the back. Yours was on the back. So we did have one or two people stop us. Yeah. Because they saw yours.
Yes.
But then if like we're on a bike and I'm riding behind you, I'm covering up your back. So it was like this whole thing of like, how do we get that exposure with like the user experience of someone actually seeing it? So I was going to like make a flag of the shirt that we designed this year and like put it on my backpack. Yeah. And then I came up with the idea of, we found out we could just print a backpack, which was genius if it would have arrived on time. And we were so close. We were like one day off of it arriving at our house.
Yeah, so then I redirected it to a UPS like place.
2 weeks later, it shows up at like UPS.
Yeah, it showed up basically around when we recorded the last podcast.
It was like a week late.
It showed up in Mansfield.
Yeah, it was wild. But regardless, we've got cool backpacks now. Yeah. Last year will be great. Every year gets a little better.
Yeah. But then you also had the shirts embroidered for me.
Mm-hmm. They're like really nice, lightweight fishing shirts, vintage, lots of pockets.
Yeah, Columbia's. With the Moto Hop on Air.
Would have been great. Would have kept you from getting sunburned. They have nice long sleeves on them. Like I said, super lightweight because they're fishing, technically fishing shirts. But, well, I don't know. I guess we could put those up, but I'm not sure if anyone else would want our logo. But it's a nice shirt. I highly recommend you looking into it.
We could order them one. We did sell, I don't remember what the
like a dozen?
Yeah, probably
maybe more.
Like a dozen of the I Survive Vintage Day shirts.
And we really didn't push it that hard, so that's a lot of untapped potential there.
Yeah.
So next year, maybe we'll bring a couple $100 worth to see what happens.
But so all of this kind of falls in line with conversations that occurred at Vintage Days and this whole working towards a motorcycle dealership of some sort, right? So we've spent some of our COVID downtime figuring that out and what the stepping stones look like of where can we go before it's like pull business loan, secure brick and mortar, get dealership license.
Get as much done as we can. Plus, we're in a very privileged position that I can design and you can do web stuff. And I feel like that's easily like we owe ourselves a couple, I would say almost like $10,000. Like that's so much, there's so much value in our abilities, which is awesome because we can do a lot of the back end stuff without having to put any money down yet.
Yeah. So I've been looking at a few different things. And one of the things that I can sell without having to have a dealership license in Ohio is anything that is considered a low-speed micro-mobility device. So, electric pit bikes.
Mobility device.
Yes.
I cannot imagine
Turns out because
any of my grandparents ever on a pit bike as a mobility device. It's just funny wording.
Hoverboards are considered that, etc.
Really?
Yep.
I guess I never thought about the term mobility device. I go straight towards like my grandpa's like electric wheelchair essentially.
Yeah.
But that's not it.
So looking at electric pit bikes, gonna try and get that set up. Found a couple companies that make class 2 e-bikes that are essentially styled like a scooter, which would be, so in a lot of places you can ride a quote unquote moped without a license. That is not the case in Ohio. And 50cc scooters are not mopeds in the state of Ohio either because they don't have pedals. But this basically fits the moped guidelines, but again, because it's electric, it's actually a class 2 e-bike, and you do not have to have a license to operate a class 2 e-bike. So it can do 20 miles an hour, throttle assist, has creature comforts of a scooter, happens to have pedals, so you could pedal it. So we'll see. But that's kind of what our COVID discussions
with the little teeny tiny bit of mental capacity that we had.
Yeah.
It's not a very deep conversation, but no. I think anything you can buy that could be used as like a toy almost. Great opportunity. Good place to start without complicating things. Lower price point, more I would say more, I don't want to say more diverse or more relevant, but like easier. I'm trying to say like anyone could go in and buy one essentially. Like,
yeah,
there's no restrictions. There's no biases. Like I don't ride bikes, but like I bought you a pit bike before we had any. Maybe before I think maybe had one motorcycle. Yeah, mini bike. Mm-hmm. What's the difference between a mini bike and a pit bike?
Oh boy, are we going down this rabbit hole?
I don't know. Could you give me like a
mini bike can
difference?
be a pit bike. Pit bikes nowadays, I for the most part are a term used to describe small dirt bikes. Although anything ridden in the pits is a pit bike. So a scooter could be a pit bike. A mini bike is a class of typically single speed, sometimes with a CVT transmission.
Fat tires or no? Does it matter?
Typically fat tire. Can have suspension, does not always have suspension, but is centered around a horizontal shaft engine that's normally pull start.
Gotcha. That's all I need to know. That's enough. Okay. I
forget where we were going before that. But you bought me a mini bike.
Oh, yeah. It just is like, I don't know, you could ride it any time of the year, not on the road. Like, you don't have a license. There's not a bunch of restrictions. Like, pretty much like a viable product to almost anybody.
Yeah.
You can buy it for someone else as a gift. Everyone can get one.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. I was just trying to pull up. So, a low-speed micromobility device, the definition for the state of Ohio. Yeah. Device weighing less than 100 pounds that has handlebars, is propelled by an electric motor or human power, and has an attainable speed on a paved level surface of not more than 20 miles per hour when propelled by the electric motor.
Electric motor? Are all motors electric? Oh, wait.
I don't know what you mean by that. You have internal combustion engines, and then you have electric motors.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know why it specified electric. Were you just looking up electric pit bikes? Or
no. This is low-speed micro-mobility devices can only have electric motors or be human propelled. They cannot have an internal combustion engine. They can't have
gas.
Correct.
I see.
Yeah. Which makes it weird because you can legally ride your electric pit bike on the road, but you could not ride your gas pit bike legally on the road.
I feel like that's going to have to evolve in due time.
Yeah. Legislation's weird right now with electric bikes and electric vehicles.
Well, I feel like the technology is changing so fast. How do you write for things that may not exist for another 6 months? You know, like how do you write for something that, like I said, may not exist right now?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that gets weird is, so if you wanted, and anytime I say pit bike, I'm referring to small dirt bikes at this point. So like, if you wanted a small gas pit bike, like a 125, in the state of Ohio, that has to be sold by a motor vehicle dealer. It gets titled, like it's like any other dirt bike or motorcycle. But an electric one, if it does not go over 20 miles an hour and weighs less than 100 pounds,
it's a mobility device.
Does not get a title, does not have to be sold by a motor vehicle dealer. Can be sold at places like Target.
My e-bike goes faster, though.
Well, yes, your e-bike is both kind of a class 2 and a class 3, depending on how it's set up. Yeah. I don't know. It's very weird loopholes right now. So, yeah, if I can get any of these companies to email me back.
Might have some options on the website before Christmas.
Yeah, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Did you have the email pulled up?
Yes.
Okay. You gonna read it?
I don't know. Do we want to read it?
I don't care.
It's short.
Yeah.
We're flashing back to vintage days. Again, we
still have to respond to him.
It's true. So Joshua, if you hear this before
we send you
an email. We have good intentions, I promise.
Yeah.
I just think like writing an email or writing any note to someone anymore is so special to an extent. Like it's just something I think we take for granted almost because we get bombarded with the communications all day, but like none of them are customized. Like it's still very like sentimental to get, a letter, and I know he wrote one to some of the other podcasts in the camp too. And like, kudos for taking time out of your day, because we're all bogged down and over communicated, overstimulated to like write anything. He just said, "Hey Matt and Missy, I met you two at Vintage Days, my third time, and brought Minty for the first time, who was his lady friend. Thanks for letting me warm up at the fire, and it was nice chatting with you. Once I got home, I binged the podcast in a few days. Bless your soul, because those first episodes were probably rough. Just been busy, but meaning to send this email. Listening is interesting with the outsider perspective. Minty is my outsider. Looking forward to more episodes and seeing you two next year." So sweet.
Yes. So thank you for your email. We appreciated it, reading it while we were sick. I think I saw it while we were sitting on the porch trying to get some type of outside time.
Some sort of UV decontamination.
Pick up some vitamin D.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like you can listen to as many podcasts, motorcycle podcasts, as you want. I would like to think that there's value, you know, and obviously he recognized like my outsiderness, because I feel like there are a lot of people, like it's so common in so many relationships that there's like the motorhead, you know, like whoever's in like all motorcycles or whatever. And then there's the other person. And the other person is like supporting, you know, that person. And I feel like I have a lot of friends who are in relationships where the significant other, they have kids, they don't let their significant other, like they get rid of the bikes and stuff. So I feel like if you can be in a relationship, or even your significant is just tolerant of it, like first of all, that's a good position to be in. But something like else is, it often comes up is like, how do I get my wife or my girlfriend or someone to like get involved? Like you've even had like that conversation with me. It's like, how do I get you involved? How do I lure you in? And I want to say like, one, you can't force it. Like,
agreed.
Leave people alone to an extent. Like if you come on too strong, you're going to break that trust and like personal space and like that safe space they feel like they have with you, because I know how you get up sometimes with your hyperfixations, and it's like, I don't even want to bring stuff up because you just spiral so quickly into like your zone. And it's like, sometimes I just want to like entertain the idea. Like I'm trying to warm up to it. Like I'm not ready for an all or nothing. Like I'm trying to. You're
like, maybe I'll get a scooter. And I'm like, cool, let's go to 4 dealerships.
And then all of a sudden I'm like completely overwhelmed and don't want anything to do with the idea, because I am a very.
Ended up with a scooter.
What scooter?
The Royal Alloy.
That's yours, so I don't ride that one.
I know.
That was not for me.
No,
I do not own any
for
bikes right now.
For you.
Yeah, because it's just like I want to warm up to the idea, but you have a problem with like going in somewhere and like not walking away with something. So it's hard for me because it's like, how do I entertain and support your hobbies? I want to say kind of with a budget, but also just like I get overstimulated very quickly. Like I just want to touch on topics, but I would say like the one thing you can do for your significant other, and again, this is coming from someone who's somewhat like adverse sometimes to like your hobbies. It's like, I don't care that you have them, but like, I don't want to talk about them all the time.
Yeah.
Like I've got my own life. I want you to have your own life. Happy for you. Love that for you. But like, that's not my thing. And it's okay to have like different interests and hobbies. But I'd say like the best thing you could do to like get your significant other introduced to like bikes is just take them around the community. Yeah. And they don't have to ride bikes. Like Vintage Days is such a good opportunity for that. We talked about like, let's go to band camp next year. And like, there is a lot of people. There is a lot of, I'm going to say women because that's what it mostly is. Women that support their significant other in their hobbies and enjoy like the environment and the community and have like really strong community factors. Like there was many times where like the women were just hanging out at the camp while the guys like went out and did their thing. And again, guys were coming and going too. So it's not like we have like some hen house or something like that. Yeah. But there's always someone staying back. There's always someone just hanging out, you know, like people could read a book, people can hang out, go to those overnight events and just hang out. Like it's a little bit of a risk. It's a little bit of a leap the first time. But I'd say, like, at least at Vintage Days, and it seems like band camp's pretty chill, like, there's a lot less tourism. Like, you don't go off-site. It's a very local. So, like, even if you're not riding, you're never far from everyone. You're never far from the group. That it's still good to have a home base. There's always someone who needs to stick around, cook, keep an eye on a fire. Like, it's good to have those people. You don't have to ride to enjoy yourself. Plus, it can slowly build up the trust and the interest and the safe space because you get like a spectrum of the interests. Like you are hyperfixation, and then there's other people that just like it as a soft hobby. And then there was guys who like work at, you know, Cleveland Moto. And like you have that spectrum of interest to where you kind of pick someone that maybe has the same interest level. And there's the guys who just rode scooters.
Yep.
Like, those are more my people. Like, the scooter people are chill. I like the scooter people. Bikers, fine. That's great. But I can't talk to them as much as I can, like, people who literally just ride a scooter to ride a scooter, as compared to the people who have completely given their life to the motorcycle. It's like a religion. You know, there's just like I said, like a spectrum, and there was people there who like wouldn't even sit on a bike, like wanted nothing to do with it, didn't ride a bike at all that week. Yeah. And I'm just thinking that, like I said, it's
Vintage Days is an excellent place to start.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be overwhelming potentially in certain ways, just because there is so much going on.
Well, and I didn't want to ride because there was just so many people and so much going on that, like, yeah, I could ride my e-bike, I could ride a scooter, like all these things, but with the amount of traffic, there was a little bit of sway the other way. But I would say, like, being introduced to it, if there's like, I mean, there's plenty of opportunities for you too. If you feel like you have that like fire in your heart, like go for it. But it's definitely a unique atmosphere.
Yeah, there's so many different corners that you can make your event whatever you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many different things going on.
Yeah, because I don't think Minty rode it all, and she was perfectly content just like hanging out at the camp all week or all weekend, which I think is just, like I said, I would say, like, if you're trying to get your significant other involved or invested in like almost any hobby, because I do tech with you too.
Yeah.
I'm not a tech person, but I somehow am like a main marketing person at this like tech computer software conference now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't work in tech at all, but there's still a place for people who are all over that spectrum of interest.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be someone in the same position you are, which is kind of the cool thing, is like find someone like you and they can maybe help you mentor your way around navigating. Like, I spoke to, is it Tom Pennington? Is that okay? Oh, I'm so bad with remembering names. His significant other, I don't know 100% if they're married, but his hypothetical wife, you know, of us comparing you and Tom, and apparently you're the same person.
Oh, okay.
So me and her though, like it's cool to like find other people to be like, oh, well, like I'm like the corporate employee, like we were both like strong personalities, like that sort of thing. And then she's like, we talk about like Tom's like just day-to-day life, and I was like, oh my god, that's Matt. Like, but to find those people that can like mentor you through that and like work through those things, and you can just laugh about it, and it just makes everything a little lighter.
Yeah. I think there's room for many different voices and backgrounds at whatever level of involvement you want.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
come on, come all. Come hang out at Vintage Days next year.
Well, yeah,
we'll
for
be
sure.
there with the toter home.
Bless the toter home. Hopefully she keeps her life together and everything goes well and chipmunks don't reside in it or anything like that.
It has to go well. I can't handle it not.
I know. We just need to redo the engine. It's fine. Just small things like engine.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I just have trust issues with it. I just want it so...
It drove all the way back fine.
I like white-knuckled it the whole way back.
You did?
You did.
No.
Okay. Well, let's put air conditioning in it.
Oh, yes.
And we'll make sure we have a reliable, like, start, stop, go. I don't know the parts of a vehicle, but I wanted to start, I wanted to stop, and I wanted to, like, go from stop, like, not just turn on, but, like, go after you stop. The important thing, start, stop, go. Once it does all those things reliable, maybe we can regain trust. And, like, it'd be nice if we could actually take our dogs with us, because that was, like, they would love living in the back, but, like, they would have a heart attack in the cab.
Yeah.
So we'll need to work on that.
Yeah, we got to figure that out. Okay. Recalls. Ready for recalls?
I'm sitting down. So, okay. So when I would fly for work, you would like to look up stats on like the planes that break down and the ones that crash and the maintenance records. What do you think is the, I don't want to say breed. What's the breed of motorcycle that you think has the most recalls?
Wait, breed?
I don't know. What's it called?
Brand?
Is it brand?
Yeah. A brand of motorcycle?
Like there's like which one do you think? I don't know. I feel like we have like a pretty good spread normally of all of them.
Well, as of right now, BMW's been on a tear for the past year, so.
They don't have more models than Harley, do they? Because obviously...
Yeah, they probably do have more models than Harley, because Harley essentially has like 4 models.
I don't think it's fair
else is a variant.
I don't think it's fair to like pick out a brand and then be like, oh, well, they have more recalls. Well, yeah, well, proportionally they own, the higher market share. Like that's going to happen.
But recalls aren't necessary. I mean, recalls aren't great, but I'd rather a company be attentive to it. Like there's plenty of Chinese brands that are making things that probably should be getting recalls and just don't.
Well, and BMW had that stop sell or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
That's some pretty serious stuff.
Well, as we get into this, we're going to get to one of those.
Right, let's go.
So for the first recall, a bunch of 2024 Indian models may have rear suspension failure. I think between all, because it's a bunch of different trims that are all considered different models, it's some obnoxious amount. It is certain 2024 Chieftain, Challenger, Pursuit, Roadmaster, and Springfield models and variants thereof. Rear suspension push rod may buckle under load, and then not good things happen. Link will be, link will be in the show notes, as always. Suzuki, the 2023 and 2024 Suzuki V-Strom 800DE. This was a stop ride order because the rear tire may crack or deform, resulting in tread separation.
Ooh.
Yeah, not ideal.
No, not when you look at that too.
Yeah. If you're going to rapidly lose 50% of your tires.
I hope not. I hope they didn't figure that out the hard way.
Yeah. And then BMW, the 2024 BMW R1300 GS, they have an issue with the way the starter relays were made, and it may cause overheating and other non-desired stuff.
Yeah, recalls tend to be non-desired.
Yeah, some worse than others.
Do you need a break? Do you want a joke?
No.
Before you go into the news?
If you want.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So a little girl was walking home from school when a man on a motorcycle pulled up next to her.
Oh boy, I don't know if I like the direction of this one.
It's fine. It's clean. Everything's good.
Okay.
I promise.
Mm-hmm.
The man says, "Hey, little girl, want to ride in the back of my motorcycle?" She goes, "No." "Come on, sweetie. I'll give you $5 if you ride with me. Get away from me or I'll call the cops." "How about $20? Just get on the back with me." Girl starts running. "No way." "Okay, final offer. $20 and a bag of candy." "Look, Dad, you bought a Honda instead of a Harley. You ride it."
Okay, that's pretty good. That was a good one.
They're all downhill from there, so.
Oh, boy. I was worried where that was going.
No, I wouldn't have done it if it was no. I have boundaries.
So, what a transition here. Well, the first news story I have is another rider has been killed by a Tesla driver using autopilot.
In the world of bad vibes, we have another one for you.
Yeah. So the family at this point, I believe, is also suing Tesla over this. This happened in Washington State.
Apparently they're not suing you for enough money because they haven't done anything to fix it yet.
Yeah, it was
I'm sure anything takes a while if it's software based.
Yeah, it was a 2022 Tesla Model S. The driver, I don't know if they've officially been charged. I know they were detained because they thought they were going to charge him with vehicular manslaughter. The Model S basically, I believe, rear-ended and then drove on top of the motorcyclist.
Yeah, so not only did they hit him, but they didn't stop after they hit something. That's what kind of blows my mind. I mean, granted, I don't know what the reaction time of that would be if they did.
Well, the driver admitted to being on their cell phone because they didn't think they needed to be paying attention because they had autopilot enabled.
Yeah, well, that's the marketing that goes back to that of being they're marketing it as if you don't need to pay attention, and people assume that. How are people going to know any different until something bad happens?
Yeah.
And I'm not I don't know, I'm not defending them by any means, but you need to leverage expectations. So people buy these things, they know what the responsibilities are.
Well, you need to not name it things like autopilot or...
Yeah, it'd be like driver assist or something.
The progression above autopilot is full self-driving.
Yeah.
Except it sort of is, kind of.
Yeah, like I said, be like assisted driving or like, hey, I'm tired, I just need a little help. Like something that works along the lines. And the crazy thing is like with everything you've done with your like started education with like cybersecurity, you know, you talk about digital footprint, you talk about like how you're tracked and everything. Like if I was to hit a driver or hit someone on a bike, no one would really ever know what I did. You download all this stuff from these Teslas and it's like, oh, you were going this fast, this place. Like that's crazy. So like, that's something you have to think about going into it too, is like, they're literally tracking your every move. Like, is that something like there's no legal way around these things that they can download a report and basically is going to override you? I mean, small chance it'd ever be wrong, but if it was, you'd have no stance against that in court. Like you'd have nothing. Yeah.
I went looking and I forgot to put in the notes. I wanted to see what kind of motorcycle it was because
you want to see how big it is. You mean like?
Well, we had covered that they kept having the issues where the Teslas were rear-ending the bikes, and so many of them were cruisers with low-mounted dual tail lights
because they thought it was
cameras
far
were
away.
Interpreting it as a car far off in the distance.
Well, and what time of day it was would be interesting too.
And I forget if it was an R3 or an R6, but it was a Yamaha sport bike. I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what I had found. So, yeah, I don't know. I just hope the federal government gets involved and Tesla fixes autopilot before it just keeps finding motorcyclists.
Yeah.
Did you end up watching any of the Olympics, the closing ceremonies?
I watched them with you.
You watched a bit. Did you see the part where they did the LA handoff?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It was really
Tom
long
Cruise
and it made me sleepy.
Rappelled in from the roof and grabbed the Olympic flag from the stage. And he ran over to a motorcycle. And he put the flag on the motorcycle.
Why Tom Cruise?
Because LA and Hollywood.
Oh, you mean for next year?
Mission Impossible.
Oh, okay.
And he took the flag and he put it on the motorcycle. And then rode out of the stadium. And then it cut to a film. And he rode the motorcycle onto the back of a plane and they took off. And that motorcycle was a LiveWire Del Mar. Was
it well branded?
No.
So who's going to know?
It was a LiveWire if you knew LiveWire, but they didn't like plaster it everywhere. I thought it was an interesting choice.
I wonder how they
it was
like
easy because it's electric, so you don't have to worry about exhaust or anything.
Was that's not in Mission Impossible or anything? Is that like a reference to it?
Know. I have no idea.
Okay,
I've never really watched those movies.
It was like a sponsorship.
I'm sure that's going to anger someone out there.
It's going to anger someone out there. Everything does.
That I
just give up.
Haven't really watched any of the Mission Impossible movies. So yeah, I wonder if LiveWire saw any like interest or a sales bump from that.
Did you check their social media? Did they even save the thing?
I know other motorcycle people noticed it, but we're all weirdos and notice things like that.
You said LiveWire. will forever say in my head LimeWire.
Yeah, I know.
Can we make a sticker that's like LiveWire and LimeWire like combined, or do you think we'll just have to tag it carefully?
Yeah.
Risk a C&D there.
Yeah.
I will let you know. I can't even apparently type correctly. LiveWire EV. LiveWire electric motorcycles. Soulful by design. So they're not owned by Harley now, right?
They are, but aren't.
Well, if they are, they don't want anyone to know it because that would be in their description.
Yeah, Harley spun them out. They're still majority owned by Harley. And then I already forget, we covered it just a episode or two ago. Is it Kimco that has the other portion?
Are you asking me?
I was hoping maybe you'd remember.
Hilarious. I can't even figure out when reels were posted. A week ago. Okay. I was trying to see if they had any special promotions. This one, you may have heard of a little motorcycle company called Harley Davidson, but did you know they made an EV motorcycle? It's called the LiveWire 1. And since then, the LiveWire 1 has become a standalone brand that continues the Harley Davidson lineage.
Lineage.
Oh, okay. in 2023 and 2024.
It is Kimco.
Released 2 bikes called the S2 Del Mar and the S2 Mulholland.
Mulholland. Yeah.
So this was released a week ago. When do you think that Olympics thing was? About a week ago.
Yeah, probably.
So this is kind of an intro video. It keeps going. It talks about some of the basic stuff. But I don't know. I just wondered if, like I said, maybe it's a paid partnership with LiveWire EV. Yeah, to figure out how much they leverage that. If there was like we're going to the Olympic, let's do something special. But I don't know.
So yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting thing to see. Next story.
It's a biggie.
Harley Davidson dealers are unhappy with the motor company. Did you read the article?
Yes.
So, Wall Street Journal, paywalled. I'll throw a non-paywalled
Yeah, I was
link.
really glad you threw that other link in there. I was like, oh, this was a quick fail.
Yeah, so the short of it is a bunch of dealers got together, wrote a letter, sent it to Harley. They're feeling stuffed with inventory, essentially, and they don't feel good that Harley's announcing a large stock buyback because they feel that essentially that Harley has all this extra cash for the buyback because they shoved inventory into the dealers.
What's that relationship like then? Like, it's weird to me to think most companies, I would assume, would place an order with the manufacturer and choose. Why does it sound like Harley's, I don't know,
Because
drop shipping
they
you
can
or
implement quotas of like
just dropping off bikes that whether or not they have room for them and whether or not they've been selling them, they're just like, all right, here's your 25 bikes this week.
kind of to some extent. You can be like, you are in this market. You have to have X bikes per month or a quarter or whatever. And they can dictate a bit of what bikes you're getting. We're going to get into some modifications of that here soonish. So one of the quotes was from, I forget if this was in response to the article or if this was from the letter, but we believe that much of what was taken from dealerships has fueled a large part of this in regards to the $1 billion stock buyback. But from the article, what was interesting was they basically were saying, so there are too many dealers chasing too few customers, the letter said, citing an industry group's projection that sales will be flat for the next 5 years. The number of U.S. Harley dealerships has fallen by about 100 during Zeitz's tenure, but the dealership council is pushing for further consolidation. So instead of asking the motor company to attract more customers, the dealers are asking for consolidation of the dealer network. Does that strike you as odd?
Well, yeah, apparently there's not demand, so they're going to limit the supply.
Yeah, but why not push to grow the demand?
Because that takes money.
Yeah, I mean...
work. And then they lay a bunch of people off. Maybe they laid off their marketing team.
Who?
Harley.
When did they lay people off?
Oh, I don't know. I thought they did. Maybe I made that up.
Maybe. I don't know.
Everyone's just laying people off. It's.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Are you quizzing me?
No, I was just intrigued where you were going with that. I thought maybe you knew something I didn't know.
No, I don't know anything. I'm just making stuff up.
Yeah, I don't know. It just struck me as odd that they're wanting further reduction in the number of dealerships.
Well, that didn't look like they were investing in like bigger, more expensive bikes when they're saying that like the market's on the downswing. It's like, well, if people aren't spending money, why would you make a more expensive bike?
Yeah, I mean, that's half of my issue with Jochen Zeitz's view of where he wants to take the company. I don't know. We'll see what comes of this. This is kind of on the heels of, I didn't throw it in here, but the Japanese arm of Harley Davidson is being investigated by the Japanese government for basically doing this to the Japanese dealer network back in 2020 and 2021. So this was dealers voicing their opinion to Harley. So no, I don't know, legislative blowback probably is going to come from this. But right on the heels of this, and Harley's Q2 earnings being released as well, Harley has announced that they're moving the Revolution Max production for the U.S. market to Thailand. So the issues I have with this are kind of all tied back to my issue of Yak and Zeitz and them blowing up everything Matt Levitich was trying to do and expand the Harley customer base and get more people in the door to Harley, right? Going into more verticals to find more riders who want a Harley badge on their bike, no matter what kind of bike, adventure bike, dirt bike, electric, bike, electric bicycle, etc.
Someone want to tell them that millennials are just trying to survive and can barely afford a house right now?
Well, that was one of the things that came up in the Q2 earnings was they were trying to reassure people that the average age of a Harley rider is stable.
Stable what? At 55, 60 years old?
According to them, they believe about 45. And that people age into their product.
God.
Yeah.
They'll also age into the retirement.
Yeah.
So think about what most people are doing at 45 is like their kids are in high school. I don't know, they're getting divorced.
Yeah.
It's just like, think about like that demographic and like what's happening at that age. I mean, I don't even know I don't know a lot of like 45, 50-year-olds. Like, obviously the boomers are the boomers for a reason. So that may be a smaller generation to begin with. Plus, I don't know. I mean, they were a little better off financially than millennials are, like with their shift to market and stuff. But I guess like the next 10 years will be interesting because then they'll be young enough to retire, old enough to retire, but young enough to still enjoy hobbies in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Before retirement age goes up.
Yeah. So the Revolution Max, though, that covers the Pan America, the Nightster, and the Sportster S. They referred to those models as the, quote, non-core Revolution Max powertrain equipped models.
Wait, did you mention what that headline was?
Yeah, that they're moving it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the Wall Street Journal article regarding the dealers being upset, a response they got from a Harley-Davidson spokesman mentioned that, quote, the motorcycles were referring to the Revolution Max powertrain models. Quote, the motorcycles were designed for international markets and contribute little to the company's U.S. revenue. Dealers will be able to choose whether to stock them. That is slightly mind-blowing to me.
What part?
Well, one, that they're moving the RevMax production for the U.S. market to Thailand. The fact that they're going to let dealers choose whether or not to stock them. Because those three models, the Sportster S, I could take it or leave it. The Nightster and the Pan America are both important to Harley for different reasons. The Pan America outsold BMW last year at some point for big displacement adventure bikes in the U.S. market. Now, granted, I know it's not a huge segment for them yet. They walked away from adventure touring bikes once when they just blew up Buell, and they would have been years ahead of the market. And the Pan America seems to kind of be a winner. They had some engine hiccups, but all in all, it was kind of only positive things that people said about the bike. Haven't been a whole lot of negative stories about it. And then the Nightster is currently the cheapest way to buy a brand new Harley. Now, I still think it's too expensive, but once they move these to Thailand,
should it get cheaper?
Well, the cheaper it hopefully if we see a price drop,
importation fees, or they'll just even if the profit's higher, they'll just keep it.
Yeah, which is very possible.
The whole point of outsourcing is normally to make things less expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise there's no point.
But after they move these to Thailand, the cheapest American-made Harley at that point would be the Softail Standard with an MSRP of $14,999.
How much is the other one?
The Nightster's, I think, 11. 11,999, so 12,000, I think. But the Nightster just got a huge endorsement by Cruci Originals. They made a handful of videos about it, at least so far. Basically, they called it a reincarnation of the Dyna. And this is the first I've seen kind of that segment of the Harley crowd look towards any of these RevMax bikes in a positive light.
Need like a family tree.
Yeah.
Look at.
I'll make one up for you.
Okay, thanks.
So you're going to throw that away because that crowd's not going to want a made in Thailand bike. Then you're also going to be alienating the people who are buying the entry level price point bike because your Harley faithfuls are going to be like, well, it's not a real Harley. And then I think the Pan America is going to run into an issue kind of similar to what the LiveWire did once they spun off the company and the LiveWire model became the LiveWire 1 is it still really worth that price if it's not, quote, really a Harley? Is anyone going to want to buy a CVO Pan America at $28,000+ if it's made in Thailand? And then again, be ridiculed by your diehard Harley people because it's not a real Harley because it's not made in America. Well, you just spent almost $30,000 on the bike.
Well, they should know that before they spend the money.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It just seems weird.
I wonder if they've done any like user surveys for that.
I would hope so. But sometimes...
maybe they don't care. They've just decided that it's all going to work out because that's what they want.
Yeah.
Because it's like a corporate write-off or something.
Well, it really feels like they're chasing the short-term profit because they see where the profit is in their Softail and touring models. But it's such a small segment of the industry, and it doesn't encompass everyone. Not everyone can afford one of those bikes.
Heck no.
And not everyone wants that kind of riding. Some people want an adventure touring bike. But so it feels that they may be abandoning the adventure category again, since they don't consider it a core model. It does feel like they are leaving the door open for Buell, if Buell can get the Super Cruiser out the door, because that will be an American-made bike, made in Michigan. But then the other thought that I had today, after I'd wrote this section last night or the day before while I was working on these, I had another thought today. I wonder if this is the beginning of a transition period. This is a way for them to ease the U.S. market into accepting non-U.S. produced Harleys.
Do you think it's like an ease into it, or is it like a slap in your face?
If they can get people to accept non-U.S. built Harleys as real Harleys, whereas most of the world does not, there are plenty of Harleys built outside of the U.S., right? Will that then allow them to bring in the hero-produced Harleys or the, I don't know how it's pronounced, Quan Jang Harleys, the X350, the X440, and the X500? Because if it did allow them to do that, and they could somehow reshape the entire psyche of their rider base to not focus on where the bike is made.
I think if it saves money, millennials would be open to the idea. If it doesn't save money, it wouldn't be a fair trade-off.
Well, the X350, the X440, and the X500, if they brought those stateside, those should all be like under $8,000 motorcycles with a Harley badge on them. So
I think it depends on how people shop too.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to is what are their priorities when buying a bike?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it'd be interesting. It'd be really interesting to see a survey of different, every 10 years of life, like 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. What are the priority?
Features are important to them or what is their buying
like a
decision
census
on? Yeah.
of like, what did you look for when buying your current bikes? What would you look for when buying a new one? Like that sort of thing. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Would be interesting. I'm sure some research group out there somewhere has that data. And then the last bit of Harley before we move on to some other stuff. The one interesting tidbit that was in their Q2 financials was from LiveWire. Year to date. Did you look at this?
Yeah, so I looked at it and was like, wow, corporate mumbo jumbo. I don't know what any of this says.
I was going to have you guess how many bikes they've sold.
I didn't read it.
Okay.
I mean, apparently I didn't get that far because I tried to skim over it and was like, corporate, blah, blah. And they have all these stats, but they don't tell you in relativity what they mean. It's just horrible. And I've worked at corporate. Of course. I've worked plenty of corporate jobs and EBITDA means nothing to me.
LiveWire, the premier American-made electric bike.
They said how many they sold.
How many have they sold this year to date?
All right, so it is almost September. I'm gonna say.
Well, this was the end of the second quarter.
So probably end of June.
Yeah.
Or end of June.
Yeah, end of June.
I don't know. I'm gonna say 1,200.
275. It was a triple-digit increase over the previous year.
Triple-digit increase, which means they sold 2?
Well, it means they went up at least 100 more than they
being
had
a huge company and selling a few hundred anything.
Well, here's the crazier part.
I bet you they sold more Cybertrucks last year. Or this year.
275 electric motorcycles they sold in the first half of the year. Made them the number one seller of on-road electric motorcycles in the U.S. for the first half of 2024. No one sold. No one's buying
anything then.
Well, that means 0 sold less than that.
Land
sold less than that. Lightning, if they're even
that means there's less
bikes.
than 1,000 electric motorcycles in the U.S. right now.
Well, no. That was just year to date. So from January 1 to June 30th.
So that doesn't mean ever.
No, just how many were sold.
This year. Yeah. There's probably less than a few thousand out there right now.
Which is pretty nuts that the numbers are that low.
Yeah, especially because LiveWire has been around the longest. So if they're not doing well, no one doing well.
They haven't been around the longest.
You don't think so? Well, they've been around for at least
I'm going to make you re-listen to my whole deep dive on electric motorcycles.
I don't want to. I'm just thinking about when did we watch Long Way Up?
2020.
But still,
yeah, I mean, they've been around for a minute.
They've had 5 years.
I'd like to think they have some
They were on option 0 or whatever. They were on VIN 0 of that and the Rivian.
Yeah. I feel like it'd be further if they had kept the Harley name on it.
Oh, for sure. Because it'd be easy cross-sell. You go in there and be like, what if you don't want to buy gas?
Well, the thing, I know I've said this before. I think about it every time I think about their bikes. How dumb.
How do you buy one? They don't have them in the Harley stores then.
Some Harley dealers. So, but how dumb you see what the long way round and the long way down did for BMW. You work with them to do the long way up. I cannot go into a Harley dealership right now and go, I want the bike from long way up. It doesn't exist. Why doesn't it exist? Why didn't they build that bike?
Well,
why did they spin it into its own brand?
Bike 0. I mean, by the time that thing launched, it probably changed its life already.
Well, no, they modified. They made custom bikes for them. Well, why didn't they make an off-road version of that bike and just sell it to the public? They would have sold them. People would have went and bought it to have the same bike.
Yeah, I wonder how many people watched that. Is that like a popular movie?
Series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because we watched it doesn't mean it's popular. I tend to do a lot of things that are popular.
I'll pull the streaming numbers for you at some point.
Okay. I genuinely don't know. And granted, if it came out in 2020, we had nothing else to do.
Yeah. Okay, that's the end of my rant for Harley. Harley Davidson, if you're looking for someone to correct the course of the company, I'm available for the CEO position.
I know a lot of people who have worked there and no longer do.
Yeah. The Adventure Tracker series from American Flat Track and AMA debuted at Sturgis.
We didn't do any Sturgis coverage.
No.
We don't know how many people got COVID, how many people died.
Yeah, I haven't seen all the numbers yet. Oh, we might touch on that next episode. Liza always does a good wrap up of that on Motorcycles and Misfits. So I'm not going to get super deep in the numbers, but
she does the safety because she's big in the safety side of things. Yeah. I was just thinking, like, in general, usually there's like something that pops up.
Yeah, I don't know if they've done COVID numbers yet. A bunch of people got COVID. I think it was 12 people died. 2 or 3 of them had helmets on. Yeah. So Adventure Trackers at Sturgis. The field was made up. So there were, I think it was 11 or 12 models that qualified for this. Only 3 different models were in the field. 6 of the bikes were Triumph Tiger 1200s. 2 were Harley Davidson Pan Americas, and there was 1 Honda Africa Twin. The podium was made up by first and second place were both Triumph Tiger 1200s, and third place was a Harley Davidson Pan America. It was an interesting distribution. If you didn't watch it, maybe I'll try and find a link and throw it in the show notes so you can watch the video. It was some interesting racing. Cool to see, like, just straight up bikes you could go buy race.
How about that? Yeah. Watching bikes you can buy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting concept.
Yeah.
Do you get my reference, or are you just blowing me off?
What was the reference?
How we just talked about how you could, like, watch a LiveWire and not be able to buy them.
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm glad you're there. Picking up pieces. My brain is not there.
It's okay. I almost said LimeWire.
Yeah. It turns out we have new spy shots out of India. Mm-hmm. There's still hope for a 650 twin Himalayan. I
didn't know we had almost lost hope. In fact, I didn't know 650 was even being considered. I just knew they released the 450 last couple of weeks. August.
In the U.S.
In the U.S. is when
it came out.
Launched this month.
9 months ago.
Everywhere else.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So if this comes out in 2025, we may have it in 2026.
I know. I don't try and think about that. I want it so bad. The moment they came out with the twins and then the Himalayan, I was like, I just want.
Maybe you'll have your dealership by then, and you can get one at cost.
Oh, maybe. If it looks halfway the way I think it's going to look from these spy shots.
The spy shot I saw
something's
was not
leaving
that
the
good.
garage. Something's leaving the garage. It is the bike I've been waiting for.
I'm intrigued at the idea of something leaving the garage.
I don't know what's going to have to leave the garage.
They have one
Something's
picture.
Gonna have to, well, and then one zoomed in.
Yeah, that one's just cropped.
Okay, this is what we know. We got dual front discs. We got spoked wheels. We have an adjustable front suspension. We have a frame-mounted fairing. It looks sporty. It looks adventure-y. It does not look like it has a 21-inch front wheel, so it's probably going to have a road bias, which is the reality of what my life is. But it's going to be a Royal Enfield 650 twin. And I'm here for it.
I just want to know how these people get the job of riding the new ones. What a cool job. Like, you're that interested in motorcycles, and you get to ride, like, what do they call them? Ghosts?
What?
What do they call them?
Test bikes?
Oh, that all they're called? There's not, like, a cool, like, ghost something or other? I don't know where they get. No, I made that up. Cool. Oh, you're going to cough. We're going to need another bad joke. I thought there was, like, some, like, really cool
Not that I'm aware of.
I should coin the term because I think it's way cool. It's like, did you see it? Did you not see it? Just like a ghost.
Well, I was going to say there's spy shots.
Oh, spy shots. Maybe that's what I was thinking.
But that's people taking pictures of the bikes before they're released.
Oh, which that's what this is.
Yes.
Right? Oh, okay. I don't know. It's just like what a cool thing to be like that person. You know what I mean? To be see like all these leaked shots and be like, that's me. Or do you be like, oh crap, that's me? Because like you
probably
got caught.
that. You're like, oh man. Yeah.
I mean, his helmet, I mean, granted in India, I'm sure they don't care, but it's like, man, his helmet doesn't even match his jacket. Like, so close. Like, that's a picture that had to go, to him. Like, I don't know if we want to call it viral. Oh, that's almost 29,000 likes. I'd consider that pretty viral in my life.
But you have to consider that he's not riding it to look good.
He's testing it?
He's riding it to evaluate the bike. Yeah,
but it's still a cool job.
It is a cool job.
Like, I would love to, like, taste test cookies or something, No one lets me do anything.
That's good.
Like, what a cool job. I'd like to interview one of those people.
Yeah. Well, what's this thing you put here? 450 or 650?
Oh, if you had to pick one?
650.
What's the price difference going to be?
No idea.
Oh, well, I guess you can't know. What's a 450?
How much?
I
don't know. 6,000, 5,000 something.
Okay.
I think it's 5 something.
Less than a motorhome.
Yeah, less than a motorhome. Don't know. He said stuff's leaving the garage moment this thing's out.
Not for me though.
If it comes in white, it's gotta. I want it in white.
I like the green ones.
No, white or black with gold wheels.
Black is so typical for you.
Yeah. And then once I get it, I'll go on some grand ride. Like
go on
a long distance.
Why don't you just drive somewhere to get it and like ride back again?
Maybe. And then I'll take cameras and I'll do what Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman are doing again. There's the segue. They have new long way episodes coming.
Until you get home, realize you have to edit all the footage and say, F this.
Yeah. I'll just live stream it all.
Oh, wow. That sounds riveting.
Yeah.
Like a live stream through South Dakota.
Yeah. Did you read anything about the new long way?
Yes.
Yeah.
I read multiple articles and they were both the exact same, pretty much.
Yeah.
They're taking the long way from Scotland, where Ewan is from, all the way to UK, England, where Charlie is from.
Ewan's house.
Okay, well, I need a map because I did not realize there's 10,000 miles
because
between
they're going
Scotland
the long
and,
way,
England.
like on a bike. It's like this, but they're doing this.
Which I'm sure everyone who's listening is really valuing.
They're looping all the way through Europe. I hope they call it the long way home.
It'll be interesting to see what bikes they choose because they're doing it on like vintage refurbs, right?
Yeah. So one of them is a Moto Guzzi. Assuming if the bikes they're riding are the ones that are in the pictures that are attached to all these articles. Mm-hmm. Ewan is on some type of Moto Guzzi. Mm-hmm. I've seen people claim it's a California. I've seen claims of the Eldorado. Charlie appears to be on some type of BMW, maybe. Boxer twin of some sort.
How old are they?
Don't know.
They said vintage. Didn't they say vintage?
Yeah, I think... I don't remember. I went down the rabbit hole of
Gotta keep ourselves in check.
They're not to figure out what they were.
They're not American, so vintage may have a different definition. For us, it's 25 years.
Well, loosely. That's like what the state defines as historical. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I really hope they call it the long way home.
Doesn't it say that somewhere?
I didn't know that they actually had a name.
I don't know they had it like formalized. Oh, I guess they said the long way. I could have sworn I saw that in one of them that was literally called the long way home.
Yeah.
Unless I just like believe
Charlie's is a BMW for sure.
Confirmed.
Yeah. Don't know what model. Not that good at BMWs. A BMW. Didn't confirm it.
No, I thought it was in the second article, but I just clicked on it and it wasn't in there. I mean, it may have just what I inferred. I'm just coming into effing it. to see what it says. No, I guess I made assumptions, but...
Well...
Wait, no, okay. A big loop from my house in Scotland to Charlie's home in England. Long way home. Magic. He says it in context, so it's not like listed as a title.
Not officially the title, but it's probably going to be the title.
Yeah.
I hope it is. That's fantastic.
I'd still like to see a map and was very disappointed in the fact they didn't have a graphic on any of these articles.
To show you the giant loop they made.
Yeah, like 10,000 miles is insane. And in my head, like, Europe is like the size of Ohio. So I'm like, give me more. I'm not alone.
Europe is not the size of Ohio.
Okay, well, in my head.
Okay.
UK? England.
Germany's probably close to the size of Ohio.
Well, regardless, the fact that, like, you say Europe or England or something, and, like, it just doesn't, it's not apples to apples for Americans because America's so big and we travel it so, like, normally. Mm-hmm. That is like, I need a picture.
Well, our states are the size of most countries.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yes. That it's like, okay, like, I don't really know what that means. And think 10,000 miles? Like, how would you even do that around the U.S.? You'd literally have to, like, start in Florida and drive all the way around and end up in Florida again. Or, like, start.
No.
You don't think so? You don't think that'd be 10,000 miles?
No. Coast to coast.
It was like 2.
And back.
Well, it was like 2, not 5.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you loop it all. But, yeah.
I'm going to Google.
Okay.
We're going to go...
Oh, you do that.
From Maine to San Diego.
Okay. You do that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to move on to weird news before we wrap this up.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember this. A few episodes ago, we talked about a guy who was going to set a new world record for the fastest speed dragged behind a motorcycle. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Johnny Davies.
It looked like it hurt.
Set a new record. His record is 159.522 miles per hour, set behind the Kawasaki Ninja H2. So congrats, Johnny. I never want to try and set that record.
Yeah, it looked painful. Okay. Portland, Maine to San Diego, California is only 3,000 miles.
Okay. So do it.
But if we added a stop to Key West, Florida, to San Diego, and then we will go up, Anchorage, Alaska, and then they are going to go back home to, let's go to Chicago. Let's loop back around into Chicago, and one more stop. We'll go back to Portland, Maine, not Oregon. It's the only city I can think of in Maine. Directions not available.
Probably because you put in Key West.
No, because Anchorage.
That's weird.
Right? All right, well. Oh, let me delete that real quick. Oh my god, you can't get to Chicago from San Diego.
Wait, what?
Oh my god.
Let me see what you're doing.
It's going to drive you nuts. I'm trying to do this very quickly. Because I tried to go top right, Portland, Maine, to Key West.
Yeah, I really think you should take Key West
to San Diego.
Is it giving you directions to Key West?
Directions not available. No.
Yeah, because
it says directions to Chicago aren't available.
Yeah.
That's
Take Key West off. Change it to Miami.
Delete. Directions not available to Chicago. All right, well, sorry, Chicago. You got to go. Directions to Portland aren't available. Holy cow! Oh my goodness. Okay, well.
Can you get directions to anywhere?
No. It's literally not. Okay. Portland to San Diego was back to where we are, 3,000 miles. It wouldn't give me directions to anything else. If that's 3,000 miles, I would say the entire U.S. has to be 10. Because you'd go up, down, loop around. Let's add New Orleans. Because I know you can get there.
Dude, just put Miami.
Okay. People have stuck around this long.
Yeah, this is impressive if anyone is listening anymore.
You deserve a sticker. Portland to Miami to San Diego
to Seattle.
4,000 miles.
Okay, go to Seattle.
Seattle. Washington?
Mm-hmm.
So it's loading. I'm sure it's got to calculate. Okay, 5,500.
Okay.
So that's more than half the way.
Yeah.
I would say let's add Minneapolis. In case anyone is wanting a route, hit me up.
You'll plan a 10,000
You will be very
mile trip
disappointed.
around the US
Minneapolis did us in. Maybe it's too many stops. It lets me add unlimited stops, but then it errors out after 4.
Yeah.
5,500. If you loop all the way down and up, I would say it's probably pretty safe to assume 10. If you were, maybe even 11, if you went all the way around like the circumference of the United States. No, the lower 48.
Yeah.
For perspective, which is a lot of riding.
Yep.
That's 10 iron butts.
We should do it.
I'm not doing anything. You keep your own hobbies. Leave me alone. I'll make cookies.
On scooters.
Cookies on scooters?
No, we should do it on scooters. We can make cookies on scooters.
I'm scared to ride on the road.
I'll find one
There ain't
with
no
an
way
oven.
I'm riding 10,000 miles.
I'm sure there's a scooter with an oven.
Can we avoid highways?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to have to if you're trying to ride the circumference of the U.S. There's not interstates that follow the coastline most places.
We're going to need sponsors for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. And I would recommend not doing it in July or August. Someone told me, I was messaging with a past coworker, that tonight was the hottest day of 2024 in Houston, Texas.
That sounds miserable. How hot was it?
Like 115.
Oof.
So I would say avoid August.
Yeah. Although it's like 60 here right now.
Which is magnificent.
Yeah. So it depends on where you're going to be at what point in August.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it?
That episode?
That's it.
Okay. Well, see you next week. Hopefully.
Bye.
Maybe next week. We'll see.
We don't make promises we can't keep.
Yeah. See ya.